supporting me. Please check my community board for all said updates and polls, news, and other various content. What I do not post on the network in a video format, I will post to my community page to bring you said breaking news and updates. Before I go into my commentary pertaining to Asa Ellerup and her alleged $1 million Peacock deal, I'm going to bring you some polls that I posted last night after my live stream pertaining to Stephen Avery, a former inmate by the name of Carl Wernicke, gave commentary a few years ago about his short stint in prison with Mr. Avery and the commentary that he gave to him. Please check out that last live stream uploaded last night. Nancy Grace has brought forward a podcast pertaining to the Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann, his wife, and the deal. Please check out her content. I may play a little bit of her content pertaining to the information I'm going to bring you today. A judge has ruled in the case against Mr. Alex Murdaugh in his financial crimes. He has been sentenced to 27 additional years in prison pertaining to his fraud case. The expiring New York sex abuse law sees a rush of lawsuits following allegations against Sean Combs by Cassie, singer Cassie. What other individuals have brought forward lawsuits? Are any of them pertaining to Mr. Sean Combs or any other well-known actors, musicians, athletes, so on and so forth? Here are the said polls I posted to the community board last night. If not now, will Derek Chauvin ever feel remorse for murdering George Floyd? Yes, 17%. Never, 61%. Not sure, 22%. Derek Chauvin now, does Derek Chauvin now feel remorse for killing George Floyd since being stabbed inside of prison? Yes, 13%. No, 77%. Not sure, 10%. Is the stabbing of Derek Chauvin retribution, karma for the murder of George Floyd? 77% of you said yes, 23% said no. Due to Derek Chauvin being stabbed in prison, will the board release him sooner? Say in a couple of years. 7% yes, 81% no, 7% not sure, and the other option is possibly sooner. 4% of you believe possibly sooner. Should minors receive life in prison or death penalty for murder? Yes for both, life and or death penalty, 38%. No for both, 13%. Life in prison, 24%. Death penalty, 0%. Not sure, 25%. Whatever role Brandon Dassey played alongside Steve Avery the day Teresa Halbach was murdered, did he know right from wrong? 57% of you said yes, 29% no, 14% not sure. Should Brandon Dassey have received a life sentence for murder as a minor? Yes, 38%. 31% said no. 31% also said not sure. Did Stephen Avery murder Teresa Halbach? 65% of you said yes. 24% no. 12% not sure. 17 votes. Should Brandon Dassey get a chance at freedom? 40% said yes. 33% said no. 27% not sure. 15 votes. Do you believe that Stephen Avery had potential to kill before rape charge? Yes, 82%. No, 6%. 12% not sure, 17 votes. So 82% of you believe he had the potential to murder even before he was charged with the felonious rape charge. Very interesting. Do you believe Brandon Dassey assaulted, murdered, and helped discard the body of Teresa Halbach on Stephen Avery's property? Only 11 votes. 18% says yes to all. 18% said help discard body only. 9% of you said he helped murder and discard the body. 45% of you do not believe he's involved, but knew she was deceased. And then 9% of you says not involved, no knowledge. 11 votes. Please take the post. Be heard. Did the wrongful conviction plus 18 years inside of prison push Stephen Avery to become a murderer? 12 votes. 33% of you said yes, and 67% of you said no. So most of you don't believe that the incarceration in prison for 18 years pushed Mr. Avery over to the edge. So that means 67% of you, those who voted, believe that he was already demented, tortured, and what? Was going to possibly be a murderer anyway. Very interesting. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Asa Ellerup is the subject of this live stream. Let's get down to business, everybody. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganJi, 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. Let's see what the latest information is pertaining to this Peacock deal pertaining to this woman. And what is her involvement? What does she know about the crimes? Did she help? We'll get to all of that after I bring you this set information. Forbes.com is the source. And note that there are various content in the Google search pertaining to this subject matter, just like any other subject matter. And each representative will have something different in their commentary versus someone else. Know that all these stories are a work in progress, so anything can change, anything could be misrepresented, misspoken. You cannot believe everything that is written. And that is what I always try to tell people when I bring forward information, that I get my information from news outlets and articles. So whatever I repeat, I'm repeating what they have said and what was told to them via a source. But it does not mean that the information is the truth. Thank you for joining me. Peacock signs documentary deals with accused Gilgo Beach murders family. Family members of a Manhattan architect accused of killing 3 women whose remains were found along Gilgo Beach on Long Island have agreed to participate in a documentary series about his trial. A Peacock spokesperson confirmed for Forbes Tuesday, drawing ear from victims' families as the decades-long mystery is thrust back into the spotlight. Key facts. Asa Ellerup, who filed for divorce from longtime husband Rex Heuermann days after he was arrested in July, has agreed to participate in the multi-part documentary series and was recently seen in court with the Peacock film crew, the New York Times reported Tuesday. The Peacock spokesperson said Ellerup was not paid for her participation in the series and has no creative control over the outcome, but she will be paid for a licensing fee for use of her archive materials. So I'm assuming that's them following her around to the courthouse, home, grocery store, so on and so forth. That's what she will be paid for. The couple's 2 adult children are also involved in a project, according to Deadline, which reported the children will receive payments for their participation alongside Heuermann's attorneys. Peacock did not immediately respond to Forbes' request for confirmation of participants other than Ellerup. No one close to the case has publicly commented on the production or the money they will be paid, though News Nation reported the family was in for a $1 million payday, and the attorneys will each make between $200,000 and $400,000. The series will be produced by 50 Cent's G Unit Film and Television alongside Texas Crew Productions and New York Post Entertainment. Very interesting. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney, whose office is prosecuting Heuermann's case, told the New York Times the documentary is going to affect Ellerup's credibility, and Rodney Harris, Suffolk County's outgoing police commissioner, called it a smack at the family members who lost a loved one. The Peacock spokesperson said the company reached out to each victim's family to appear in the documentary, which was very noble of them to do that, all of whom either did not respond or decline. Very interesting. So will they participate or not? Very interesting. Disappointed, disgusted, flabbergasted, frustrated are a few words that come to mind right now. Sherry Gilbert, sister of murder victim Shannon Gilbert, wrote in a post on X about the upcoming documentary. The way that the media will buy stories to further re-victimize, re-traumatize, and exploit the families and victims of serial killers is evil, quote unquote. Once again, as most of you know, Mr. Huerman was arrested July 13th, pled not guilty to 3 charges of murder, the deaths of Amber Lynn Costello, 27, Melissa Bartholomew, 24, Megan Waterman, 22, whose remains were all found on Gilgo Beach between 2010 and 2011. Police say he hired the women as escorts before killing them, wrapping them in burlap and burying them at Gilgo Beach, the halfway between the suburb he lived in and where his office was located in New York City. A police canine found Bartholomew's body first in December 2010 while searching for another missing woman, Shannon Gilbert. 2 days later, the remains of 3 other women were discovered. 7 other bodies, including a man and a toddler, were found in the months that followed. John Ray, a representative for Gilbert's family, has said he feels very strongly that there is undoubtedly another suspect in the murders. Very interesting. Huerman lives in the Long Island suburban town of Massapequa with Ellerup and their 2 children. The couple had been married for 27 years. Ellerup has not been charged in the murders, and police say they happened while she was traveling. Macedonia has said his client knew nothing about the killings. The defendant, Mr. Huerman, appeared in court on November 15th for a pretrial hearing and is expected to go before a jury next year. Tangent. True crime podcasts, documentaries, dramas, and other media have taken off in the last decade, raising concerns about the ethics of consuming entertainment based on the stories of real victims. Media tracking company Perot Analytics reports a 63% growth in the documentary genre between January 2018 and March of 2021, with true crime being the largest subcategory of documentaries and the fastest growing. Google searches for Netflix serial killers rose by 45% in 2022, and searches for true crime drama rose 32%, digital agency Ellerup'S says. More than 1.6 million print copies of true crime books were sold in 2018, up from 976,000 copies in 2016. That's a lot. 1.6 million true crime books were sold in 2018, up from 976,000 in 2016. This is reported by Time. The hashtag true crime on TikTok has seen over 50.2 billion views. Meanwhile, of the nation's most popular podcasts, 24% are of the true crime genre, according to the Pew Research Center. And Apple Podcasts on Tuesday revealed Crime Junkie to be the most popular podcast of 2023. Dateline, NBC, and Morbid were also among the year's top shows. If you need verification for the information that you are listening to, Forbes is the source. Thank you for joining me. You are now listening to The Vault XL. Now, with my commentary pertaining to this information that has been relayed. Asa Ellerup signed a deal with Peacock Network for the licensing of archival materials. She will not be paid for participating in the documentary. Her kids will be paid alongside Rex Huerman's attorneys. Peacock did not respond to who else will be participating in the documentary. How much is the actual amount for these other people to be paid, such as her children, their attorneys? Why their attorneys? Why her attorneys? Why did she ever get an attorney? I'm very curious. They said there's an undisclosed amount. What is the amount? Is it 1 million? Is it more? This information I brought to you says 200 to 400,000 for the attorneys. 50 Cent is in production 50 Cent's production company is also involved alongside two other production companies. Why you, 50 Cent? Why are you involved in this dire situation pertaining to the Hurmans and these victims? We know that Mr. 50 Cent has been very vocal over the years of his commentary pertaining to other people, other entertainers. He said, she said, always had something to say about rappers. And now to hear that his production company is involved with Peacock to produce this documentary is even more detrimental and heinous. But it is what it is because it's business, is it not? Will he have something to say about why he decided to take on this documentary? I'm very curious. Will she tell the truth about her life with Rex Hurman? Will the kids tell the truth? Will the other participants in the documentary tell the truth pertaining to Mr. Rex Hurman, their dealings with him, the children, the wife, what they seen, what they heard, what they saw? Does Asa Ellerup have a plan in motion pertaining to going to court all of a sudden, going to the jail to see her husband, what was discussed in her conversation with Rex Hurman? We're getting difference of opinions pertaining to he smiled back at her when they went to court. She smiled at him. He responded in a smile. But one commentary said he didn't smile. This is why we want cameras in the courtroom. Because I don't want a reporter coming back telling me what was said and done in court. I want to see it for myself. I want to view the people in court. I want to review the judge's reactions, the attorney's reactions, the people testifying. Because now you have difference of opinions pertaining to who smiled at whom in court. So did Mr. Rex smile back when she smiled? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know. Why now go to court, Asa Ellerup? I'm curious. Why are you now concerned about what your husband did and did not do? You told your attorney that you don't want to hear from the media about what your husband did. You want to hear the evidence for yourself. Well, many people, I'm sure, want to hear the evidence in court, ma'am. But why now a change of heart? Is she now supporting her husband? Or is it just she wants to go to court and hear the evidence for herself? Will she be shocked by the evidence when she goes to court? Is she a willing participant in the murders of these four women? Evidence has been found on the victims. Her hair 4 times is 4 times too many. In some people's books, I think it's very suspicious whether he lived in the house with her or not. It's very suspicious to me. A GoFundMe was set up by the Happy Face Killer's daughter. Why are you getting involved, ma'am, to help her start a new life? But then that could be contradictory now because she's now gone to court, gone to the jail, wants to hear the evidence for herself. So one would think that perhaps she's supporting Mr. Rex. So why should people give their hard-earned money to her when her husband had a substantial career as an architect consultant? They lived in a rundown shack. So one would say he had to have some money. But then now we get more information from Nancy Grace's podcast that he was a gambler. So perhaps he didn't have any money. Stay woke, everybody. Where is the money? Has he signed over any monies, equity, bank accounts, properties, cash, anything hidden, offshore accounts, to Asa Ellerup? What has she received besides her name on the deed to the house? Another question. Why is it only because he's accused of murdering women she finally gets her name on the deed? Stay woke. You've been married to a man for 27 years. He acquired the house rightfully from his parents before meeting you, I'm assuming. So that he meets you, greets you, marries you, but never puts your name on the deed of the house, Asa. But then all of a sudden, voila, he's arrested for murdering women, possibly linked to some other victims. And then now your name is on the deed to the house. Why was your name not on the deed to the house? Why is your name not on any bank accounts with Mr. Rex Hurman? Did you have to get permission to get money from an account? Did you have access to a bank card, debit card, credit card, checkbook? Or did you have to ask for money from Mr. Huerman, ma'am? Did he give you an allowance, ma'am? This is all strange information. This is why I have this in the title. Does she have something up her sleeve, a plan in motion? I didn't have any money. I didn't get access to money. That's why I got in with Peacock. They found me or she found them. How did that go? Who reached out pertaining to this documentary? And are people still donating to that GoFundMe that the Happy for Miss Ellerup and the family? When she went to the jail, what did she discuss with her husband? Did she ask him, did he kill those women? If she asked, did he respond? Did she ask him to hand over all assets, to have her name put on bank accounts, real estate, so on and so forth? Did she ask her husband, did he kill those women? Why does she not want to get paid by Peacock for participating in the documentary? Because victims' families have come out. Shannon Gilbert's sister has spoken out, feeling like it is, a punch to the gut. These streaming services and production companies wanting to give their version to the public of what allegedly happened when nobody knows what happened except for the killer and the victim. And yes, many people are fans of true crime. And as I have told you so many times before, as I've told you during this live stream, that what you hear is not necessarily the truth from either party. Either be the lawyer, the victims, families, friends, associates, the butcher, the baker, candlestick maker. Everything's a version. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe about a story. And there are always going to be things in the storyline that you will not know the truth because you were not there. Why does she not want to get paid? I'm curious. Because this is the same woman who appeared to not have anything. So this is strange to me, that you would not get paid, but just your children paid, the lawyers paid, and then I have to ask the same question over and over again. Why do you have an attorney? For what? You're not involved in the crimes allegedly. You were gone allegedly. I find that strange to be said. Why would you say she was not there? He's linked to 4 people with hair belonging to her. That's how they found him. So to say she wasn't there leads people to believe the attorneys think the women were killed at the house. Stay woke. So where would she have been gone to? I have yet to hear where she was traveling to, as I brought you that commentary just now. She was traveling when these murders happened. Well, where did they happen? At the house? At the hotel? Airbnb? Where? So if he killed the women outside of his home, that means he carried strands of Asa's hair each time he killed a victim. Stay woke. What are the odds of that? And yes, we do carry fibers from our home out to the public, on our shoes, on our clothes. It gets in our car. If we have pets, that is transferred out to the public as well. But damn, 4 times, stay woke. Nancy Grace gives us a very animated storyline in her latest podcast pertaining to Asa's $1 million deal with Peacock. And she says that she pulled up in court in a silver Mercedes. So I'm going to ask, Asa, is this your new car? Did you drive the car to court or someone picked you up in a silver Mercedes? Where is your car? What type of car do you own? Do you actually have a car in your name? How many cars do they have, the Huerman family? I'm curious. She now has her name on the deed, but as I said before this arrest, her name was not on the deed. So when did Rex give her the house? And what else has he given her? This is a very strange story. And I think this story is going to be one of those stories that has a lot of intricate details. It's going to be a story within a story within a story. You're going to hear different versions from different people. You're going to hear different versions from friends, family, cohorts, and you're going to have to decide what is the truth. Will Asa and the family, the two children, adult children, stay at the house? Will she sell the house? Will she also take book deals, TV shows? Will she also be offered payments? Will she take the payments? Will she finally take a payment? Or will she finally say, again, I'm only taking the payments to pay for my lawyers? And what's the deal with that? Once again, why is it only lawyers for your children, lawyers for yourself, but you're not taking a payment? Only a licensing fee for archives. I find that very strange. Why do you need an attorney? Once again, Asa. Why do your children need an attorney? This makes no sense to me. How much is Rex Heuermann worth? Did she not take the money from Peacock because Rex signed his monies over to her and she doesn't need any money from Peacock? How much is the Heuermann estate worth? Does she know something about the victims? Because I'm going to say it again. If her lawyers want to go on and on that she was not around when he killed these people, he was out of town, you have to ask yourself, why would these lawyers say that? She was out of town. You're alluding to the fact that you believe that people were killed at the house or somewhere else. And let's ask ourselves that. If this man is a narcissist, a sociopath, psychopath, he does what he wants. Why does his wife need to be out of town for him to kill a victim? We got information from Mr. Ray, the attorney, that a woman swung with her. Asa is a swinger. They've been to the house with other participants. Other participants have been to the house. One of the victims was there at the house. And you want me to still believe she did not recognize one of the victims when their face was shown on national TV? Local news. Missing woman, now found dead. Gilgo Beach. I'll wait. Also, did you recognize one of the young ladies, Miss Fagata, when they released information that she was found near your house, you and Mr. Heuermann's house? Did you recognize her as one of the women who was in your house playing duck, duck, goose on this alleged night that an African-American woman and another man, detective, were there playing footsies with your husband? I'm very curious. Where was she when the women were killed? Out of town where? See, I always tell people to listen to the details because the details will tell you what you need to know about the story. And I am very good at dissecting details. Sometimes I don't hear, I have to re-listen, but I'm good at dissecting. So let's dissect this. Asa Ellerup, if you were out of town, every victim, whether he killed the victims in your house or outside of your house, where were you? And why is it when the police raided your house back in the summer, you had nowhere to go? Checkmate. Stay woke, everybody. See, everything is in the details. These people were murdered over 10 years ago, allegedly. Okay? Each victim killed. Asa Ellerup wasn't at the house. How they know this is a mystery to me. Plane tickets, I guess. Airline tickets, computer data to show, oh, she boarded a flight, blah, blah, blah. Where did she go? Overseas, out of the country? Okay, cool. She was out of town when he killed these women. But what is baffling to me is that she had money to travel out of the country. These women are murdered when she just so happened to be out of town. But when the police, 10, 15 years later, raided her house, she ain't got nowhere to go. Does she have support from Rex's family? Where is his family? Why have we not heard from the brother in South Carolina and other relatives? Don't you find this strange? Because most killers have support from somebody. Friend, co-worker, neighbor. We also have a neighbor who has come out to say he was threatened by him because his car was parked over the sidewalk, the public sidewalk in their neighborhood. What were you doing down there, Mr. Huerman, rambling at this person's driveway in the first place? Were you out hunting? Dark, looking for new prey in the neighborhood? And another thing that has been raised on the Nancy Grace podcast, the fact that all this time went by that they were stalking Mr. Rex Huerman, the FBI. Why did it take you so long to arrest him? And was he about to kill somebody? And that is the reason why you finally arrested him. What is the 411? With the timeline of Rex Huerman becoming a suspect to the surveillance of Mr. Huerman, his home, his job, data, bank accounts, so on and so forth, to the day they arrested him in New York City near his job. Did they see evidence that led them to believe he was about to pick another victim? Because I found all that information odd as well. What was he doing from the time he became a suspect up until the time he was arrested? Has he killed some people in that timeline or beforehand? And if so, how many victims? Long Island, New York City, New Jersey, South Carolina, Las Vegas, or any other states? Who will all be in the docu-series? How much will they get paid? Will everyone tell the truth? What else will be revealed pertaining to Rex Huerman, Asa Ellerup, the children, any more victims? Is he a suspect in any other victims besides the four? The others along the Parkway, Las Vegas, South Carolina? There's a woman missing there. Her daughter believes he was last seen with her mother. Did he kill that lady in South Carolina? We learned that the Happy Face Killer's daughter has been in contact with Miss Asa, set up that GoFundMe. Some might be curious to why she decided to get involved. Does she actually believe this woman has no knowledge or involvement in the crime? What if you find out later, ma'am, that she has been involved? She has knowledge. She helped him kill these women. How about that? Because the 4 strands is a bit much. Whether he lived in that house or not, it's just scary as hell. The Happy Face Killer himself has been in contact with Mr. Rex Huerman. He wrote him a letter, and he told Mr. Huerman to confess to the crimes and not to give the media what they want, which is a circus. Get it over with, confess to the crimes, tell law officials what they need to know, and end the saga and go on and do your time. Mr. Rex Huerman thanked him for writing, and basically they talked about food and meals in the jail. And we learned through the Nancy Grace podcast that he's been eating a very nice meal, very good food, better than most inmates are receiving here in the state of Tennessee that I know of. So what I have to ask myself is, Mr. Huerman, why didn't you tell the Happy Face Killer that you didn't know those ladies? Because it seems like to me you're responding to the Happy Face Killer, thanking him for writing to you, but not mentioning that you didn't do this. Hey, they got the wrong guy. Hey, you've got me misread. I'm not a killer. But as Nancy Grace said, it takes one to know one. Birds of a feather. Did Rex Huerman kill these women? And why didn't he tell the Happy Face Killer, hey, they've got the wrong guy? Will we find out later that he will admit that he was with the victims, but he didn't murder them? Because he's got to now explain in a court of law, even if he does not testify. His attorneys have to explain how his wife's hair got on the victims and what other evidence they may have to link Rex Heuermann to the victims. So what is Rex Heuermann going to do down the road? Yeah, okay. I took up with prostitutes. I took up with escorts. I went around trying to pick up women off the street and online. Yeah, I did sleep with those ladies. Yeah, but I didn't kill them. Will he finally admit that he was with the victims, Mr. Heuermann? To talk about bread and butter, will he get butter on his bread? It's very sick to me. It shows me that he has no remorse for these murders, if indeed he is the killer. The state believes he is. The fact that he is not denouncing himself as the killer to the happy face killer shows me that he is the killer, and he prefers to talk about everything else under the sun besides why he is actually sitting in a jail worrying about bread and butter, and why is a serial killer writing him damn letters telling him to confess. Have the two talked on the phone? Who else has been writing Rex Heuermann letters? Any other killers, serial killers, men who are killers but nobody knows that they're killers? Will he confess to these murders of the 4 victims and any other crimes pertaining to Long Island and any other jurisdiction? Let's talk about the hairs. 4 victims, I believe 4 strands of hair. Was Asa Ellerup present at the time of the murders of the victims? Were the victims killed in their house, property, garage? Did she have sex with the victims? Did she help discard the victims or help get them prepared to be discarded by Rex Heuermann? We find out that a few of the victims were wrapped in burlap. That's one way to link one killer to the victims, because they're discarded the same. Very interesting. Why burlap? Very curious. What does she know about the victims? Are we looking at something more sinister than a 6'6" giant, towering inferno / serial killer? Hoarder, hoarders, dilapidated house, broke, gambler, detached from reality, sicko, wacko. Could we possibly be talking about a dual team of killers? Man and wife serial killing team. Are we looking at a woman, Asa Ellerup, who's empty, lonely, sociopath, quiet narcissist, supported her husband, and is now using these murders to get more money, to fatten her pockets and a life for she and her children, because she wasn't afforded this opportunity to live well while being married to Rex Heuermann? Is this her easy way out? I'll pretend to care for him, support him, go to court, go to trial, talk to him, accept phone calls, bring him commissary to ride this ride out and fatten my pockets so I can have something for my children and myself. Are we looking at a grand narcissist, grand schemer, scammer, actress who has been riding the ride with the killer, possibly knowing what he has done with prostitutes and swingers, actively swinging with him, her choice? But she knows way more than what her attorneys are saying she knows. And in the end, the attorneys cannot say what she knows. You don't have any proof of what she did and did not do pertaining to the prostitutes, pertaining to swinging with her husband, because you were not there. Neither was I. Is this her way out to be free, play the victim, get sympathy? Will she start to talk? And then the real Asa, Ellerup, will be revealed. I know we're not supposed to judge people, but we do because we're human. But a lot of this story is strange. The hairs on the bodies of the victims, this newfound change in her to go to the jail, to tell a lawyer, to tell the world she's only heard what the media has said, she wants to see for herself, which is nothing wrong with that. Because some people might say, hey, she should go to court. She should want to see the evidence, whether she supports the husband or not. So we're going to ask that question. Is she now supporting her husband, or she only wants to just go to court to see what is being said? Will he ever confess to her that he killed these women? Or has he already confessed to her long before he was ever arrested? Stay woke. See, you don't know the truth. And that's the thing about true crime, is that you're only getting a version. You're getting what the dead person's remains tell, what the FBI, Secret Service, local authorities, state police have gathered in the investigation, neighbors, friends, associates, bank accounts, data, phone data, device data, pings, CCTV footage reveal of their blueprint. And then there's the truth. As you've always heard about a story, his side, her side, and the truth. What is the truth? Because this lady may ride the ride basically to the abyss, just so she can keep some funds in her pocket to take care of herself and her children, but it may backfire on her, as Mr. Ray has said, because whatever you tell Peacock, it will be privy and public information, and the prosecution can call you into court to testify according to what you've told them in this documentary. So if you try to ride the ride and say, I'm not going to testify against my husband, you have contradicted yourself by talking to Peacock and signing a contract for them to follow you around and get your commentary, man. Checkmate. You will be called to court. And rather you sit in there and say, I ain't gonna say anything, whatever you revealed in the documentary will be said on its own, out of your mouth, out of your children's mouths. You won't be able to take it back. Or you can say what many people have said who have been filmed. I just went along with the flow and told them what they wanted to hear for the money. I was scared. I just said anything. Will that be you, Miss Asa Ellerup? Because I got a funky feeling that this deal that you have signed with Peacock for your children and for the attorneys to get money, it is not going to turn out in your favor. Because the one thing we have learned about crime is that when people commit crimes and when people aid others in crimes, when people help people cover up crimes, they do not think about down the road. They do not think about what will be revealed, what will be discovered. And we have to ask ourselves also the ultimate question, what was actually found in your house during the raid? What was found in your storage units? Oops, I mean Rex's storage units. Because you didn't seem to be an active part of this family. I think Rex was running the show as far as financially and possibly everything else going on in the house. You just was right there for the ride, foolishly. Didn't speak up for yourself. You didn't have a voice. So what was found in the storage units? Because it's going to be a shame for you possibly that there are things in that storage unit that link your husband to the crimes. Things in your house link him to the crimes. And God forbid, those same things link you as well, besides the hairs on the bodies. So whether you were out of town when he killed these women or not, we don't really know what was found in the house. There's a reason why they broke up your bathtub. Checked the drains. Dug up the yard. Obvious reasons. Evidence. And I got a feeling you do know more. And I'm not here to say that you aided your husband in any way in murdering these women. Covering up the women, helping him dispose the women. But at some point, you had to have an inkling into your husband's behavior and his dallying around and his disappearing acts. And once a person gets a taste for murdering, I don't think they're going to say to themselves, himself, I'm only going to kill when my wife Asa is out of town. Stay woke, everybody. Because a killer is a narcissist. And when would a narcissist need permission to murder? Well, better check in with my wife first. Gotta make sure she ain't home while I'm out hunting. I got a feeling Rex was hunting even while he was on the clock working. Stay woke, because a killer is just that, a hunter. And I also heard that he was a hunter, literally, from a coworker during one of the documentaries on TV. So even when he was in architect mode, he was hunting. He was watching, searching, pining for a victim. It's never turned off. Why would it be? But naturally, he has to play the role, and that's what a sociopath does. They emulate what is expected of a human being. Simulation. So even when he wasn't out actually dialing up prostitutes, escorts, searching websites, looking at pornographic material, children porn. Oops, did I leave that part out? Your husband's been a nasty being. And it'll be a shame if we find out you also participated in watching children porn as well, because I don't know you. But I believe there's way more to you. There's way more to this story. It is way deeper than just 4 bodies found on Gilgo Beach, other bodies found on the Parkway. This story is deeper, and I got a funky feeling somebody is going to bring forward the 411. And we're going to learn about all of his nasty habits. If indeed he was a gambler, if indeed he actually had any damn money in a bank account, the reasons why you all are living in that hoarded ass house, why there's no support from family or friends speaking forward on your behalf and Mr. Rex Heuermann's behalf, why you have 2 adult children still living in your house, one's disabled but your daughter is not, why is she still there? And the fact that I saw a picture where you all are smiling on the GoFundMe page. And it's still creepy because of the circumstances. Why do you need money? And how do we know you need money? See, that's the danger of donating to the GoFundMe. You really don't know what a person needs and what a person has and doesn't have and what they have access to. So are some of you going to want your $58,000 plus back since she signed a deal with Peacock? And naturally, any monies that her son gets, she will be the overseer of that money because he's disabled. So one would have to ask, does he receive any type of government monies for disabled individuals such as SSI? Stay woke. His mother would be over that money. I don't think nobody's really paying attention to what I'm saying. Did she not want full pay because she didn't want to be judged by outsiders? You see, I believe there's a reason for the season because I'm sure the victims' families feel abused in this situation of companies wanting to make money off of true crime. Some will agree, some won't. Some will say, well, somebody's going to make the story. They should know this. They should also know that people are going to lie, make up stuff, because people do it all the time. You really don't know what to believe is the truth. And that's the whole point. You will never get the whole truth pertaining to a killer. Because one, the killer is a deceiver. So he or she does not have to tell you the full truth of their life, how they feel about this person, that person, their desires, their deviances. They can just tell you what they want you to know. And that does not mean it's the whole truth. And we have learned that killers have help. They have enablers. And that's what's going to be the sick part about this story. If indeed Asa Ellerup was an enabler. May not have liked her life, may not have been content with the life she had on Long Island, living in that old shack of a house, living around other pretty homes, manicured lawns, nice fancy cars. Why am I living like this? And my husband makes good money in New York City as an architect consultant. But she still rode the ride. And at any point, she could have got off the ride, divorced her husband, sued him for child support and alimony, kept it moving. But she did not. Why not? Or maybe she was happy with her life, because that's the point of living. I don't have to like how you live, agree with how you live. Maybe you like living in this shack of a house, hoarded house. Maybe you like your husband running around, sleeping around with different people, bringing strangers to your house to have sex with you, picking up prostitutes, escorts, killing them, not paying you any attention, not doting on you, valuing you, uplifting you, upholding you, idolizing you. Maybe she liked it. And that's what people are going to want to hear in the documentary. People are going to want to hear the truth, Asa Ellerup. What was your life really like with Rex Heuermann? What was it like when you met? Where did you meet? Why did you marry him? Were you happy in your marriage? Were you happy living in that house? Why was your house never put on the deed? Your name put on the deed, excuse me. Who is the real Asa Ellerup? And are we going to find out she was a party to this dirty ride into the abyss, or an unwilling participant who had no idea of her husband's deviances? She may have swung with him, with swingers, but she has no knowledge of him murdering any women. But I'm going to say this before I check out of here. If that account that that lady gave to Mr. Ray is the truth, that you were swinging with your husband the night that Miss Vergata was at that house, running around, she was acting peculiar. There's also an incident of you thinking somebody stole an iron, which is very strange to me, which shows me that you're not well equipped, because that sounds like a too far-fetched story to make up about you accusing one of the women of stealing an iron, which makes me believe there were people running in and out of your house having sex with your husband. Maybe not necessarily you, but your husband. You do know more. And are you going to tell the truth? And how in the world you would not recognize Miss Vergata when her picture became local and national news. Documentaries made about Gilgo Beach. So there's no way you had not heard of any of those women, whether you met them personally, saw them, or was told about them from your husband. But Miss Vergata in particularly, you should know what she looks like. Hell, even smell like, if she was at your house the night she died. And how in God's name could you carry that burden of knowing that a woman was at your house, left behind by a black lady and a detective, acting strange, peculiar, possibly screaming, hollering, wanting to get out of there? Why didn't any neighbors here see anything? And how in the world could you continue to be married and stay in a relationship with a killer? Because that's what's going to be your downfall. If they can bring a receipt to Vergara being in that house with those two individuals, and that lady can ID you and say, yes, this is the lady who I saw at the house that night. You are in deep shit, lady. I want to thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful week. Happy holidays to all of you. Please be safe. Be aware of your surroundings, what you post on social media pertaining to your findings in the mall, shopping. Be very careful. This is a time for deviant behavior. So be aware of your postings. Make sure you keep your doors locked, windows locked, car doors locked. Do not power your car up with valuables, shopping bags. Take people with you if you're going to be late night shopping. Do not leave boxes outside the driveway, the garbage can, so people will know what you have purchased. Make sure you have somebody at home to pick up your parcels if you are not home when you're ordering online. And just be aware of your surroundings, your home, people coming and going, lurking about. Please be safe, everybody. Thank you for following this content. Please check my polls, comment, share, make this content and the polls go viral. Check out my video from last night pertaining to Carl Reinecke, former inmate of Stephen Avery. Make your voice count. The next video I will bring will be pertaining to Brendan Dassey, and we will dissect if indeed this young boy participated in the sexual assault, murder, and discarment of Teresa Halbert. How much involved is he, or was he just in the wrong place at the wrong time and helped his uncle discard her body because remnants of bleach, gasoline, and paint thinner were on his pants, or bleach was on his pants, and those same items were found in the garage where allegedly she was murdered. So he had some type of participant, perhaps. That's why I want you to take the polls pertaining to Mr. Avery, Brendan Dassey, their roles they played. Was Mr. Avery groomed to be a killer or already had the potential to be a killer? Should children receive the death penalty or life in prison for murder? Was he mentally disabled to not know right from wrong? Because what it's all going to boil down to is his actual role the day Teresa Halbert was murdered. Did he participate in the crime itself against her and the discarment of her body? And the nephew, Bobby Dassey, what was his role? Was he just told about the murder of Teresa by Brandon that he saw her in the fire pit? Or was he also involved but never implicated by Stephen and Brandon? Thank you for joining me. You have been listening to The Vault XL.